Hi, everyone. Tonight with the Gauntlet, we are continuing our play of Grey Ranks, game by Jason Morningstar about the Warsaw Uprising in 1944. My name is Donna, my pronouns are he, him, and tonight I'm playing Alicia Sikorska, a young 16-year-old girl who is, I guess, at the moment at least, her reputations are unsubtle and a weakling. And I guess last week we saw her, I guess the pivotal scene in the mission for her last week was introducing a local German officer to a Molotov cocktail. So yeah. We'll jump into chapter 3, but before that, let's get introductions from our players and their characters. So Pavel, do you want to go first?
Hey, good evening. I'm Pavel, and I'm playing Marek Pastuszko, nickname Electric, which is electrician in English. He's the son of a technician who was working with electrician. That's how he got his nickname. His reputation are careless because he ordered to detonate a bomb in the middle of the Warsaw Market Square, and infatuated. He's in love with Jadwiga Rufowa. He's kind of interested in this rebellion of stuff, but also maybe it's good to survive and just have someone to live with. We'll see. Yes, and his what was it called? His symbol, because things he held dear is the city of Warsaw, and his symbol is black and white postcard showing the Warsaw Market Square and the monument of Mermaid, which is the symbol of Warsaw.
Great stuff. Thanks, Paul. And Brandon.
Hi, I'm Brandon. I'm playing Christina Stefanowska, who is 15 years old and goes by the pseudonym of Monica in the Resistance. She was a student who has taken up arms out of a fierce and perhaps over-eager sense of patriotism. What is most important to her is her family. Specifically her mother, and she has two sisters, Maria and Zofia. Her father was captured by the Russians when they invaded the eastern half of Poland, and presumably is still a POW, although they have heard so little from him that, of course, there is concerns that he might have died. We may be fighting the Germans, but the Russians are not exactly our friends in important ways. Her symbol is a scrapbook that she has of detailing birthdays and outings and little bits of paper, pressed flowers, little notes on the dates that were important of things that happened as she and her siblings especially got older.
Great, yeah. And I forgot to mention Alicia's, the thing she cares about most is her first love, and she carries a locket which was a present from Mache, who we saw her with last time. Okay. So I guess we're going to jump into chapter 3. The Uprising begins. Did you say you wanted to read the Radio Lightning piece, Brandon?
Certainly. Okay. The Uprising begins. Newsflash from Radio Lightning. A message from the Commander-in-Chief handed to me by a Home Army courier. Soldiers of Warsaw, today, Tuesday, August 1st, 1944, I have issued the order to begin open battle against Poland's age-old enemies, the German invader. Today, You will carry your arms in the open in order to free your country. Friends and patriots, it is W hour. All searchers report to your rallying points. Late breaking updates. Battalion KB has been disbanded due to lack of weapons. Attack Group HAL is to report to their alternate rally point. Units in the Golski sector are to back up Sosna per original instructions. Radio Lightning will keep you informed throughout the day. Listeners, stay tuned.
Great, thanks. So what we should do now is have a quick look at our grid reference for each of our characters, and then maybe take a look at the situations that we have listed. Once we've done that, or while we're doing that, it's a good idea for us to choose a mission leader. The mission leader kind of frames the mission, and at the end of the mission rolls a dice to see how we get on, and also chooses one of us to do a double move. So I think did we have Marek as the leader last mission? I can't remember.
I think it was Christina.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I think Marek and Christina Marek was leader of the first one, so I think you can go. Yes. Don't know how to be the leader for this one.
I'll be the leader in this one. So okay. Just looking at my grid for some D4. Okay. Okay. So how about this for a mission? I think after our all action piece last time, we have something a little bit more down to earth. I think we have a mission to steal some printing press equipment, maybe like a barrel of ink or something like this. Because now that we are kind of fully up and running, High Command need, ink for typewriters and for printing propaganda and all that kind of stuff. And maybe this is something they didn't think of before, but we're going out to solve that problem for High Command. How do you like that?
Sure.
Okay, cool. So, again, we can go around in circles around the table, and we can each frame a personal scene for ourselves, and then we can frame a mission scene for someone else. So does anyone have an idea straight off the bat for something like this? Either for a mission scene for someone else or a personal scene for themselves.
Because I was focused on the situation. The mission is to steal some printing press equipment, ideally some ink barrel. Yes.
Yeah, I think so. So something to help HQ get its orders out and get the propaganda newspapers printed, that kind of stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah, probably not so much for orders as for distribution among the populace, right?
Yeah.
To mobilize people to contribute resources and to pass along information.
Cool. I think I can maybe to switch the connections and to switch the order and play the mission, at least some of the mission scene first. I feel like framing a scene for one of you guys, because I've maybe for Alicia, because she's the team leader over here. So I wonder where would the ink barrels be stored. I think we see a German transport, a truck approaching, and Alicia is there probably with someone who feel free to define. and yeah, and the ink barrel is on the truck. Is it enough, or do you want me to frame it
No,
harder?
no, I think that's good. So maybe maybe Alicia is there with Jadwiga, and we are talking to this young German driver who is waiting around for someone, and we are basically distracting him, right? Yeah. So, does someone want to play through this scene? Maybe someone can play the German driver, and someone can play Jadwiga.
Sure, I can be the German driver. So, but just so I understand, because I envisioned the truck incoming, and are you talking with some, and you envision the truck has stopped, and you're talking to the driver,
Oh,
or
yeah.
are you envisioning talking to some other driver, and the other truck is incoming?
Oh, sorry. I thought we were maybe talking to the driver of the truck where the barrel is, and just keeping him from his
Yeah.
journey.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Okay. So I think so I think Jadwiga and Alicia are maybe have put on some nice clothes with that, so they're not like in their mission khaki or whatever uniforms. And not least the fact that they don't want to draw attention from the Germans as combatants if everything has jumped off. And I think Alicia is kind of unsubtle, right? So
Yeah.
so I think she is trying to pluck up the courage to just say something, to this German that will get his attention, but maybe she's not quite
I
sure
think
what to.
Yeah, Jadwiga goes, "Hey Hans, got a cigarette?"
Yes, of course, but aren't you too young to be smoking?
Too young to be in in a war zone too, but there you go. Do you have a cigarette or not?
I might have, depending what I get for it,
So it's a little conversation with pretty girls isn't enough for you.
Nah,
You have
I don't
time
think
for more
so.
than that?
What is it you're looking for, Hans? I mean, how much is a cigarette worth?
It's what he knows what boys are looking for, but I hope that one cigarette isn't going to buy that.
Well, I have an entire pack of cigarettes, but shouldn't you be home? I've heard there's some fighting today happening.
Are you my mother?
But we're safe with you. No one would dare attack with you here. You're so strong. Look at your uniform. It's so nice.
Listen, I don't know what's going on. There's some shooting, and someone said that this is your people who are shooting.
My people. There's no shooting back at my room. Not that kind of shooting.
No, go off somewhere else. I need to check if everything is all right back at the back. So I envision that he starts to like walk toward the back of the truck, where probably on the sides is like covered, and there's like only entrance from the back of
Not even one cigarette. Cheapskate.
So I think I'm picking a die to contribute, and I'm going to give my D8. I think that means, based on the guidance, a D8 indicates some failure, something going wrong for which the character is to blame, or some task in their care being neglected. So So I wonder, is him going to check on the back like the wrong thing? We are obviously a failure, or do we like stir the pot a little bit and like maybe Alicia throws a stone at him and then runs, right? I think that counts as unsubtle, right? Just throwing a stone at a boy to get his attention.
Oh, that's graduating from pine cones.
Exactly. Next, it'll be bullets. Yeah, I think that makes sense. I think Alicia sees that he's going to the back of the truck and does something kind of stupid to get his attention.
Yeah, do you want to end there or do you want to keep playing?
Yeah, I think we're gonna end there. I think.
Awesome.
I mean, maybe he chases them around the corner or something like that, but he's guarding his truck, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Brandon, you want to frame a scene, either a personal scene for yourself or a mission scene for someone else?
Yeah, let me think here. I think this is a personal scene, and what I think it is that Christina has heard a rumor from someone who does some little clerking job for the Germans, that a number of prisoners of war that the Soviets had captured have been recaptured by the Germans, and the Germans are in the process of repatriating them, particularly Poles. And so she's actually going to the German and to the administrative office, whose name I forget, to find out, because she knows that for all their atrocities, the Germans are fantastic at keeping records. And if in fact her father had been recaptured, they might have records there, and even the merest rumor is worth following up. So she gets dressed up nice, but not over nice. She puts on a dress that's decent and it's probably been mended once, and make sure that she looks, she gets a hat and make sure she looks reasonably respectable. And she walks up the steps of what was a Polish bank building that the Germans have taken over for for administration.
Do you want to cut to the desk of this?
Yes, we're gonna
clerk.
Yeah, cut to the desk. She gets ushered inside by a policeman, and she's parked outside in a corridor, and finally she's told to go in, and she's sitting in front. It is the office is spare, but it needs a pin. There's hardly a speck of dust to be found. People come in and out periodically with files of records, and there is a whole set of filing cabinets along one side of the room. This is not the only. It's a medium-sized room. This is not the only desk in it. But the desks are far enough apart that you can have a conversation without raising your voice.
Shall I play the clerk?
Sure.
Okay. So yeah, I think maybe an older sergeant mayor is there, and he looks up at you and kind of has a double take, right? It's like, what is it you want, girl?
Bitte says Christina, because her German's pretty good. She was a student. And she says, Herr Mayor, my father was captured in the early war by the Soviets. And we have heard that some of the Soviet prisoner of war camps have been recaptured by your valiant troopers, and that there is a list of Poles who are going to be returned to their homes here and in the countryside. And I wondered if you would be so kind as to look and see whether my father were among those lists. My mother it has been a struggle for my mother to manage a family without his help, and I'm sure there's a great deal that he could do in order to assist the prosperity of the town and such. And do you have children, Herr Meyer?
Well, is your father the type of man who would cooperate with the glorious Third Reich?
Of course. He only did what any patriot would do, is just to defend his country against the Eastern barbarians. And he was his unit was overrun in the early weeks of the fighting. He has no love for the Soviets, I can tell you that. He never has, and I'm sure even less now that he was taken a prisoner there. I understand the conditions in their prisoner camps are dreadful.
Well, of course, they're barbarous. But what's your name, child?
Stefanoska Christina. My father is Wojtek.
So, do you think now is the time to roll?
Sure.
Yeah. So you can pick either your reputation, which you can boost if you wanted to, or from your grid.
I am going to use my grid position.
Okay.
And roll a d12. And I just have to find which is somewhere. Nope. I guessed where it was, but I was wrong. Where's the dice roller?
Oh, sorry. Let me link.
I thought it was in.
It was in the. It's in the safety tab. But let me put it back.
What's in the safety tab? There it is. I'm just blind. Okay, and my objective number is.
So for personal scene, it's the chapter number. So if you roll above it, it's a success. If you roll equal to it, you get to choose. And if it's below it, it's a failure. So we're in chapter 3. So you're looking for a 3 or higher, basically.
Fail.
Wow, on a D12.
Horrible failure.
That's harsh. Okay.
On a D12.
You thought that was a sure thing.
Yeah, well, the D12 evidently didn't think so.
Yeah. So I think, let me know, because this is your failure, right? So I guess that means you don't find his name, or
I think it's worse than that. I think
you-
that they have a listing of the POW camps that were recaptured by the Germans. And all of the nearby, and they have a listing of all the prisoners that were repatriated from all the nearby ones, down to the man. And, their hometowns and what has happened to them. I mean, they have, they've got beautiful records on everything. And my father is, well, either my father is nowhere on these lists, which means that he was sent into the Soviet hinterlands, or my father was on the list as having been in one of the camps, but was not. But the Germans didn't find him, which means he's probably died. Either way, he's probably dead, which is more interesting.
I mean, I think
Let's make it more heartbreaking. His name's there, that they got from the Soviet records, of having been captured. So there's my father's name. There's a capture date for when they was captured, and then under liberation status, it says missing. And I say, what does mean missing? And he says, it means he was not among the prisoners that were liberated from the camp.
so. A more optimistic person might say or might hope that he had escaped, but the kind of crushing realism would be, he died in captivity, right? Is that?
Yes.
Yeah. So, so I wonder if, like this sergeant is somehow kind enough to look through all the records for you. And I think he says, as if trying to ingratiate himself with you or to kind of, cheer you up, says, well, I'm sure the Soviets are as barbarous in their record keeping as they are in everything else.
And Christina says, I recognize the names of some of the other men in this unit. But thank you for your trouble. And she holds it together long enough to get out of the building, and then she bursts into tears.
we wrap that scene there. Okay. So I guess I will set a scene. I think I think maybe we'll set a mission scene. I think maybe one for Marek. I think he and maybe a couple of the others, while Alicia and Jadwiga are distracting the driver, are setting up to get the barrel of ink out of the back of the truck. How does that sound?
Absolutely. Or are we driving off the trucks?
Oh, well, I mean, I guess the mission is to get the ink, whether you take the barrel or take the whole truck,
Manhandling a barrel is hard. I was thinking that we actually make off with the truck and and park it in an alley and where get it to an alley where there are friends that can offload the barrels into a wagon, cover it up and take it across town.
This is a scene for Marek or for Christina?
I was framing it for Marek.
Okay.
So yeah, I guess the approach is open to Marek, right?
I'm just one thing. I wonder that unfortunately with the three of us, you have to frame a scene for Christina, a mission scene, because otherwise Brandon will be framing a scene for himself, a mission scene. Because I framed for you. If you frame for me, then Brandon frames for himself.
Well, you're next, and you've had a mission scene, so you'll have to frame. Yeah, sorry. So we'll make this for Christina. So does that make sense?
Sure.
So yeah, what is Christina's approach going to
be? Christina's approach is right. Is this this fellow is just on a break. He left the keys in the truck. And Christina is just going to sneak in the passenger side. Crawl her over to the driver's side and drive the truck away when he is busy chasing the girls.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, so just Christina, or is anyone else backing her up?
I think you always do things in twos. So shall I bring out somebody else?
Yeah. I guess there's Mache, who's another guy in the troop, or Jan. Or you could say Vitold as well.
Sure. Well, since Jan's already there, so yeah. So yeah, Jan is going to loiter around the truck and keep Christina apprised of the situation as she as she finds the keys and gets the truck started up.
is like Christina. Now she was a student, but is there some reason that she would like be expected to know how to drive a truck?
How to drive a truck? Not particularly.
Okay.
Does Jan know how to drive a truck?
I don't know.
Or we could bring in
But,
somebody who knows how to drive a truck.
How difficult can it be, right?
I don't know. It can actually be pretty tricky.
Yeah, yeah.
If I can play Jan, I think we see Jan just sitting on the passenger seat. Why did you get in first? I was supposed to get in first. Do you even know how to drive it?
Do you?
Yeah, I see my father just like step on here, do something with this thing over here, and it will drive.
I think I'd want to take somebody. Yeah, Christina's pretty organized. I think she want to take someone who can actually drive a truck or has actually driven a truck. Because getting into an auto accident is not going to be.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing
productive.
I was thinking, maybe to build on what we saw last time, was, Christina has been like studying the manual, right? There's
Sure.
maybe they've, gotten a manual to the truck in some supply cache, and she's been studying it, and she's sure.
Yeah.
She
Well,
knows
she's
how
been
to
practicing
operate.
with, yeah, she got, and she got practice at least starting a truck. That's belonged to a friend of the family.
Mhm. So what to kind of get a flavor of how well this is going to go, what die type do you think you're going to be using here?
I think she's going to this is over eager, and I think it's going to bump to D6.
Okay, cool. So, and that means you get to frame it pretty well. D6s should include some success, a particularly shining moment in the spotlight, or a character achieving something worthwhile. So, does this mean, like, as Jan is kind of telling her that he knows how to drive, like she gets it started, and
Oh well, she actually pops the clutch on the car, so it just it starts right up, right up, and then she just bangs it into first gear, as if she had done this all, had done this for a year. It's like, see, what did I tell you? Simple. And then she says to swerve to avoid a cart full of, pumpkins or something like that.
We see the soldier who was chasing Alicia, just like standing over there and just like looking at something to run after the truck. In the mirrors, we see them.
I think he runs back out to the street from the alleyway, and he like looks left where he parked his truck, and then he like looks right because he realizes that was his truck, right? Cool.
Yeah. So yeah, Jan gets slammed into the the seat as the truck starts up cleanly from nothing. So and she's so she zips across town towards the rendezvous in the alleyway, where of course Marek is waiting with his crew to offload the barrels into something less recognizable. And like I said, I don't know. I imagine like a horse cart or a donkey cart or something like that. There, where you could just throw a tarp over them, or say it was beer or something like that.
Yeah. So Marek was supposed to prepare this part of the operation, and as you just like drive there, we see that there's no automobile, no horse cart, just like Marek and a couple other guys and yeah, and they jump on the truck. They just like grab
Yeah.
the stuff.
You see, Christina backs the truck into the alleyway, like she had done this before.
Yeah, and you see just like everyone jumps in, grabs something, jumps out, and then they all look at Marek. By the way, feel free if you wanna. I think Christina is also there, so feel free to join the scene. And they all look at Marek. So where's the car? Marek says, "I couldn't get the car. It broke yesterday, and we have to walk. Just stay off the main street." And yeah, and Christina hears that because I'm contributing D10, so the plan goes like horribly wrong. So yeah, Christina can hear that there's like a fuck up in a plan and can react. As Marek explains to the guys, like just like go off the main street, try to stick to the alleyways, and everything will be all right.
With 40-pound barrels. I mean, they're little cake. They're probably little. Partisan cakes aren't huge, but they're heavy.
I mean, what am I to do? I don't have a car. I didn't want to steal my neighbor's car because he was driving his family off town. So
you're an idiot. We didn't need a car, just a cart, something to carry these things.
I mean, I'm improvising. I already have a plan on the route. We will go this street and then
Shit,
turn.
take the barrels and get out of here. They're going to spot the truck sooner or later, and we have to be away from it.
Yeah,
Christina's getting out and she's booting, Jan out. Come on, go. We're going to rendezvous back at point C.
Yeah, and just because it's appropriate for contributing a D10 that someone dies over there, maybe we even see like two German soldiers go around the corner and they spot us carrying the barrels and they like open fire and
Achtung! Yes,
and the last guy who was like unnamed, but we see he didn't make it. He and his barrel just like fell down on the streets, and the rest of us is like panic, really running away.
Okay, yeah, and then because I always think of these as movies. You see a mixture of blood and printer's ink. It was flowing down the cobblestones into the drain.
Yeah.
So
so if you are building your pool, I'm contributing a D10.
Okay. So,
and I have the D6.
Yeah, a D8, a D6, and D10. Cheers.
And what do you need? You need a.
I need a number of players times the chapter.
So you need a 9.
So let's hope that D12 hasn't rubbed off on them.
Easy.
Okay. Yeah. A great success. So I think, despite the kind of chaotic last leg, I think maybe the two German sentries who are chasing, I think maybe they slip on the shattered ink on the cobblestones, and by the time they've kind of regained their footing.
Yeah, and also they're covered in printer's ink.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is.
They're not so enthusiastic about chasing after that. Okay, so we've got 2 more personal scenes to do. I guess we have one for Marek and one for Alicia. You have an idea, Pavel, for Marek?
Yeah, I can play it with Brandon, and you can think of about your scene if you want. Brandon, would you like to play my older brother, whose name is Piotr, and he's already a member a soldier of the how it was called?
Home army.
Home army, and he's already. I think Piotr is like older, so he's like 18 or 19, and he's already member of the home army. And I wrote down that he's afraid of dying, and overall he has like a frail body. He isn't like the typical muscle soldier. And yeah, I'm drawing inspiration from my family needs me, and I think that so today the uprising started, and I think we see Marek and his brother Piotr talking, and Piotr is afraid of dying. He's like afraid that he's not going to make it. So
Sure.
and I'm wondering where should we frame it? Maybe at home. Parents are not there. There's just two of them, and Piotr is getting ready to move out.
So yeah, so what he is doing, so you hear a like a commotion, like furniture being pushed around, you know, and cursing. It's Piotr, I mean Piotr's voice.
Oh my, Piotr, I'm so envy you actually go into the battle against the Germans with a gun.
Fuck that. There's a box of ammunition in this room somewhere, and I can't find it. These rifles lying on the bed, and he's scrabbling underneath the bed and opening boxes, pulling boxes off the shelves and opening them up. It says, he throws one down on the thing. He says, "God damn it! How am I going to? I can't fight if I can't find bullets for my gun."
Piotr,
Where are they?
Come on, calm down. Maybe mom didn't know what it was. I mean, and maybe
of course she didn't know what it was. It was all hidden away. But I went and looked, and I can't find the box. It's kind of, it's an old box with water stains on it, about this big, and the ammunition's wrapped in a cloth inside, and it should have been right here, behind the desk here, but I can't find it. He starts to pull drawers out of the desk and put them on the bed, and reaches in with his hand in case something has fallen out, and brings it back cursing. And it's not a very well lit room, which makes things even more difficult.
Yeah. Marek says, "Hey, let's go to the basement. Maybe mother moved it toward the basement as the fighting started, because you said it was inside something marked with water. So maybe she just moved it to the basement. Let's go there."
Okay, fine. Let's go. God damn, it's so dark in here. Let me get a candle.
Yeah, it's dark. Come on, tell me something about what is your secret assignment meant for today. I'm so excited.
I can't tell you about my assignment. It's secret. Besides, they don't tell us anything. Where is it?
I'm sure it's gonna go.
Watch your feet. I think I saw a rat.
I'm not afraid of rats. There are Germans on site. Like, who would be afraid of rats?
The rats are more of a danger than the Germans sometimes. Okay. Anyway, you find the box. Yes, that's it. Open it up. He's like, "Oh my gun! Damn it! Bring it up! Bring it upstairs."
Yeah, carrying it.
And he's up there, and he's up there, and he gets his gun. He's scrabbling around to stuff other things in his pack. Clearly, he takes. Oh, just like, wait, do I have my water bottle? What am I supposed to? Matches. I'm supposed to have some matches, and he's dumped everything out of his bag, and he's starting to put it all back in again. Okay, yes, give me the ammunition.
Piotr.
He pops the clip in the rifle and starts to load it, and a couple of bullets go flying all over the
Piotr,
spring
down.
spring out and roll on the floor.
Calm down. You are
God damn it!
nervous.
I'm supposed to account for every one of those. My sergeant will kick my ass if I don't have them.
Calm down. Look me into eyes, and then like put like a brother to brother arms on the shoulder, and I look him into eyes, and I say, everything's gonna go great. Just calm down.
What do you know?
You have everything. I have my own secret assignment that I'm not telling you, so that because you're not telling me. So maybe one of these days we can like share our secrets.
You get the bullet that rolled into the table.
Sure. Here you have. And don't forget to load it. You're gonna be just fine. Go and kick some ass.
He finally gets it loaded, and he finally gets it, the clip in and such like that, and he and it's fine. It's like he looks at the scene. He says, "Okay, shit," he says.
Yeah, let's set the scene there and let's see how it go.
Yes.
So yeah, what die are you putting into this one?
I think I'm going to roll just a d4, although I wasn't able to be very careless this scene. But so yeah, I'm going to just roll a d4 and see how it goes.
Remember the other thing you can do, although maybe you just don't want to do it, but I just want to remind you, you can invoke the symbol of the thing you hold dear if you wanted to get a d12. Maybe that'll be for later.
I mean, it's like 3 difficulty. I'm fine anyway. We'll see how it goes.
Look at that.
There you go.
And yeah, it's a 4. So how it ends up? I think we see a very short as Piotr comes back home in the evening he even comes back for the supper, and he's like all covered in blood. And at the beginning, Marek is like really afraid that he's like wounded, but yeah, turns out it's just the blood of some other soldier, and his brother is all fine and motivated because he was like focused. So yeah.
Okay, great. So I think for Alicia's personal scene, I think we'll see her back at our HQ, and I think Mache will be, they got a load of stuff, not just the ink barrels. Maybe there was like one box of equipment, and he's trying to show her, I don't know, maybe there was like a Morse code tapper or something like this, something technical which has really piqued his interest, and he is trying to explain it to her. So I don't know.
And is there a scene goal here, do you think?
Well, I think she is trying to impress Mache. Like she is struggling to understand the technical details that he is kind of excited to explain, but she just wants to be interested in what he is interested in. If that makes sense.
Yep.
And unlike the bottle, I mean, this is not something that she would have had too much experience with before. So, Mache, so you tap this button, and how do you expect anyone to understand what you're tapping?
Oh, do you want me to play Mache?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. It's in code. It was invented by a man named Morse. As you see, the letters all go with patterns. So an E is one quick tap, beep, like that. And then an A is a long tap, boop, boop, like that. And then so an L is a short and then a long, making things up. So if so, Alicia would be, because it goes dit 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 dit. See?
But like, what's the difference between 3 E's and whatever 3 short dots an O is? Like, how do you tell the difference?
The difference between 3 long and 3 short?
No, like 3 individual short and 3
Oh.
short together.
Oh, how do you? You there's it takes practice learning to hear this, but there's a tiny pause in between each group. So, for example, the universal cry for help is SOS, because S is 3 short, O is 3 long, S is 3 short. So you go dit 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 dit. Notice you see tiny space between them. And even if they get run together a little bit, the person just transcribing at the other end can make sense of it, because otherwise, you know, it won't come out in any sensible words. Of course, when you normally do it, it's in code, because anybody can hear it. It goes over the radio waves. But the good thing about this, you see, is that it is, see how simple it is. The whole thing, including the battery, it fits into a briefcase. And so, you know, unlike a radio where you have to have a big, antenna, you have to have, you know, all this sort of thing. And this, you can make an antenna here. You can see the antenna is just a piece of wire that hooks up to the pipe of this building. It's much simpler. And if you can move it from place to place, you can operate it out in the field if you're with the troops.
Like, could we use this to hide our messages from the Germans?
Well, if you have to have a code. You have to have a way that an agreed upon code that both people use, so that the messages, you can't just tap the messages out in regular Polish or any other language.
But they don't even speak Polish, do they? We could
No,
use Polish.
they have some people who do, and there are people. We all know that there are collaborators. But it's too dangerous. I mean, it's too dangerous to send messages out in the clear, except in, you know, in emergencies. So we still, you know, when we're all in the same city, it's safer to pass messages in person, or by using message drops, as we do. Because that way you can be reasonably certain no one can overhear or examine the message. But when you send it by radio, everyone can hear it. So if you can't say anything that you wouldn't say on a telephone party line.
So I think I'm gonna roll here. I'm gonna use just my D4 and see what happens.
It's a 2.
Great, so that's a fail. So yeah, I think despite her best efforts, and maybe despite Maciej's best, or maybe his casual attempts to teach her all this stuff, she doesn't quite get it, and it seems like complicated and dangerous and not very exciting. maybe not as exciting as she
Yeah,
thought at the
not very
start.
exciting, certainly. It's like you're tapping a key.
Yeah.
He's trying to play up how important this is, that someone is here in you're going click, 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 and listening to little beeps through their
Yeah.
headphones.
But I think like Mache kind of sees her lack of interest or lack of excitement, right? Kind of doesn't understand why she doesn't
Yes.
get it. Okay. So that's everyone's personal and mission scenes. So I am going to, let me just see the grid. I think I'm going to get Marek to move twice because I think maybe his part of the mission came kind of so close to disaster, but still worked pretty well. And I think, I think that's kind of invigorated him a little bit. So he moves from C2 to A2, right?
Yes.
Okay. And Christina was at A2. And so when you're at the edge, so Christina, oh, okay. Maybe I won't do that. Christina lost her personal scene and won the mission, right?
Yeah, unfortunately,
So
yeah.
she's ending up in A1.
Yes.
If I pushed her twice, she would actually move down to E1. So she'd be ending up in a corner one way or the other.
Oh, really? It wraps around?
Yeah, it wraps around. So normally if you hit the edge, you go clockwise, but if you hit a corner, you just wrap around. I'm not sure if it makes more.
You wrap around. I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
You wrap around in the direction, but she's going
So
right.
she's going to wrap around, sorry, to A5.
You would wrap around to A5.
Yeah.
If you move twice.
Yeah, it's if she moved twice, yeah. I'm not sure if
that makes perfect sense.
Is that she's nervous, hitting nervous breakdown instead of martyrdom. Yeah.
Either one works. They both work. So
you have a big choice, yeah.
I'm trying to think forward to the next mission. Are we likely to win it or lose it? And therefore she'll like go back, and then like we have to drag her down by like her losing the mission.
So out of curiosity, if I'm in A2 and the next time we win, then I will go to E2, yes?
No. So if you're A2 and we win, you win, you're at the edge, not in the corner. So you'll just go clockwise. So you'll go to A3.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm leaving this completely up to you. So.
Yeah. Okay. So I think I'll go with the original decision. I think maybe we'll see if we can get.
Okay. So I have hit A1.
Yeah.
And I need to check that.
Go to A4. So we're all clustered up here.
All mashed up in the good for the mission, not so good for us category.
Yeah, exactly. That's the end of chapter 3. Do you want to take a quick break, 5 minutes?
Yes.
Yeah.
So how? But I'm just trying to understand, how did you ended up in A4, because you said you will be. I'm trying to get it. How? It doesn't matter.
So
he was in B4.
Yeah, I was in B4,
and he won both the personal scene and the mission.
Oh no, sorry, I didn't. I failed my personal mission. So
you failed your personal scene. That's right. So you go to B3.
B3, yeah, which is okay.
That's why I was curious. Cool.
Okay,
yeah.
Sorry.
Break.
Okay.
We'll see you soon.
Okay, so 5 minutes. Okay, so we're back for chapter 4, which is entitled Desperate Street Fighting. This is Radio Lightning, broadcasting on Wednesday, August 2nd, from liberated Warsaw. The news: despite lack of weapons, Polish forces continue to gain ground. In some places, we have broken into German strongholds and captured much needed arms and ammunition. The fighting is ferocious, but spirits are high, and much of Warsaw is liberated at this hour. Grey Ranks couriers have even revived the postal service. Moscow claims in a broadcast that only Polish communists are fighting in Warsaw. This is not true. There are no troops of the People's Army engaged in any action in Warsaw. This from the Home Army. Surviving troops of Battalion Zata 49 are to report to Group Bratislav headquarters. Stay tuned to Radio Lightning, broadcasting from liberated Warsaw. So, I guess who wants to be a mission leader in this chapter?
Marek's turn.
Okay, I'm trying to envision what kind of mission might be fitting this chapter. The fighting of the street has just started. What can the young soldiers be doing? I think our mission is a delivery. It's a quite unplanned operation. So some of the soldiers in the Home Army got maybe like cornered somewhere in Wola district, and yeah, they need supplies. So our job is to use whatever tiny passages we can find and get there without maybe drawing too much suspicion, or whatever other means we want to employ. So like we will be carrying a little bit of medicine, some ammunition, maybe some guns, and deliver it to the stranded soldiers in some part of Wola district. How does it sound?
Sure.
So, yeah, I wonder. Maybe a part of that kind of that interests me is we don't quite know the route and we don't have time to do any reconnaissance. So maybe
Make it even trickier and say that they've occupied a number of buildings which are heavily fortified, and the only good way to get supplies into them is through the sewer.
Yeah.
So which none of us know very well. It's just we've been given a sketchy map of how to get from point A to point B with the supplies. By it's like you go down this way and you pass two passageways on your left, and then you take the right, and then you look for the railing going upwards.
So yeah, maybe unlike normal when we're just heading around, we've had to amass some batteries for flashlights, or maybe something even more low tech. So yeah, I think maybe would it be who seems more like our kind of scout lead character? I wonder if you think Christina, maybe if she's being a little bit, or we're used to thinking of her as being overeager. We have maybe she's being volunteered to lead out ahead.
Oh, absolutely. I'm not afraid of the dark.
Yeah.
She's up in the martyrdom corner. She's so yeah. So I think so a frame of a mission.
I'm a little bit lost. Donald, did you like frame the scene for Christina?
Are you framing it? Are you framing for Christina? Sorry.
Yeah, so I was just checking if
Oh.
that was okay with you.
Yeah, of
initially.
course. Go ahead.
So,
Yes, please.
Yeah, so I think, she is being sent out with those very vague instructions, go straight ahead and take the second right, and then you'll turn left and you'll be there. Hey presto. I don't think she's given a good flashlight, and then just told to find it and maybe to mark it with chalk or something like this. And whatever she does, it's important that she not be seen, which maybe is at odds with giving her the big flashlight, but there you have it.
Then in the sewer, it's pitch dark down there. So
Yeah.
Oh.
Is it I presume these are like small sewers, not like Hollywood sewers with footpaths on the side, right? So we have to like get in the
these are old fashioned.
Yeah.
These are old fashioned. I mean, they're probably storm sewers, drainage sewers. But it's they're not nice places, and they're not big. I mean, Warsaw has some big sewers, but I think we'll say that these here are relatively small. And so it's actually easier for some of the gray ranks people to get around because they're tend to be younger and smaller. So yeah, so she's so she's yeah, you see her down there with the she has the flashlight, which has been wrapped. She's got a big piece of cloth wrapped over the flashlight. It's been tied off so that it gives enough light to see by. But and she's squinting at a piece of paper that has a pencil sketch on it. And as she's walking along the thing, and she goes 1, 2, and then she starts and she kicks out at a rat who has become a little too inquisitive. Says, "Go away, you bastard." I'm not here to deal with you. I'm not, I don't taste good.
So yeah, I think like you can like hear maybe the rat scurrying through the water, ahead of you or back behind you. It's like you've got no way of seeing what it's doing apart from the wake it's leaving in the water, messing it up.
Yeah, you see her. She's she puts away the map, and she gets out she's got a big stick in there, and she thwacks the water, thrashes the water a couple of good times before crossing it to discourage any vermin from making too much. And she goes, "God, it's like she's probably with someone, right? Nobody does anything like it."
Let them know you're coming, so they move before your foot hits them. Right?
Yes. Yeah, so she's with Simon. And she says, I feel bad disturbing them. They've probably been here longer than we have.
I don't know. They could be German rats.
You think they're German rats? Hey, you.
Yeah, me?
Sind
What?
Sie ein deutsches Maus? I don't know what the term for rat is. She says.
Oh, you got me scared. I thought you were talking to me. Okay. Can we go, please? Can you like lead forward?
We're going. We can't. What do you do? Would you want to run?
I'm
Get lost?
scared. There are Germans above us and around us. I'm scared.
There is a crash from above. And it's like, I don't know if there are any Germans above us. I think that was an artillery shell.
Because maybe too dark, right?
Little
To get
bits
a
of
real sense of what's going on up there, but maybe there's
no,
some
it's
dust
just every
coming
so
through
often there's just a tremendous noise, and like little bits of grit fall down from the ceiling. It's loosened organic material.
Yeah,
it's like we still have another 100 yards to go. Just be quiet. She takes off her cap and wipes her forehead.
I am quiet and just heavy. Come on, lead the way. Find a way.
I'm finding the way. We can't go faster than the walk, or we'll miss our turn. If we miss our turn, we'll get lost. And if we get lost, then we're going to be down here until the rats get us. We're like that.
I'm already knee deep in someone's shit. So let's. Yeah, I will. Yeah. Just lead the way. Yep.
Yes, we can get into worse shit than this. She says, just don't breathe through your nose. You're gonna say.
so what die do you think you're gonna put into the mission, Brandon?
I think she's going to she's still doing well. She's going to put in the D6.
Okay, so yeah, the D6 in reputation is one use, so you could use the D6 from your other reputation dependent.
Just from my regular reputation, I guess.
Yeah, so your regular
or
reputation
actually, why
is
not?
always,
I'll bump. It's the less of them, or how's it work?
yeah, so you can automatically do a D4, and then as you build up your reputation, it's kind of the leftmost one that you haven't used. Yeah.
The leftmost one. Okay, well, I think she's showing less dependence now. So I will bump the dependent to D6.
Sure. Okay, cool.
And she's it's like, okay, 1, 2. She writes a 2 on the wall. The next one's our turn. And then we just have to find the ladder.
Fine, but next time I'm leading. I will.
Hopefully
we go faster.
Hopefully we have the faster is not better. Just calm down.
Okay, it's good to wrap there, I think.
Yes.
I think we got a good sense that Christina has picked the right turn and kept people from rushing ahead. So that's pretty good for
her. I have a cool idea for a scene for Alicia. A little bit follow up, a little bit inspired by something from my grid, but I think you might like it.
Sure.
So I think we see Alicia with this Morse code machine with a little antenna and some batteries attached to it, and she's like climbing the stairs to get on the roof of some building. Her job is to get there so that she will have the overview, and she can like then send these messages that she was trying so hard to learn from Maciej, because Maciej is on the other team, the one crawling through the ruins, hoping that she will guide them. And if you want a little bit more problem, is maybe you hear German language, that there's some German soldiers on the roof, maybe like one or two. So
or just nearby. I mean, somebody with people around that might have binoculars. And she has, I think she has a book of Morse code. She has a little Morse code, that's been written out on a piece of paper.
Yeah, a step by step from
just like all the letters, and A is this, and B is this, and C is this, and
so yeah, I think like the kind of first challenge from her point of view is maybe to attach the little aerial to this kind of maybe old aerial that comes up out of the roof top, and to do that without being seen. And then maybe she can like hide down behind the wall, kind of surrounding the top of the building, and send her message from there. And so I think, when Maciej was framing this was like the least of the problems, right? Like attaching the, rigging up her wire to be an aerial was just something so straightforward. So I think, if I put in the D10, it's going to be disastrous. So I think, she is wrapping it up, and I think like maybe the wire snaps, and she has to like stand up close to it in order to reconnect it with the small length of wire that's left. And so she's like standing in plain view of any of the observers when she's sending the message through. And I think, after a couple of minutes, someone sees her just standing there doing something, and that is just too suspicious.
Yes. Hey, yeah, you on the roof. Get off there.
And I think she knows like everyone down there is relying on her to send this message. So she's just staying there, and I think she's gonna get shot at. What is D10? Yeah. Of course, in disaster, probably for the entire crew, something very unpleasant or very tragic for everyone. I think maybe it makes more sense if it's going to be a tragedy for everyone, that she's so nervous and like taking fire that the message maybe cuts out in the middle because she dodges and she doesn't realize that she snaps the wire again. And so she's like sending a message to nowhere.
Well, yeah, no, she's sending a message that cuts off in the middle, like, German troops moving in from.
Yeah. Something that...
and it stops there. Yes, and then she's tapping in, east estimated strength, 80 men, that, but the whole rest of the message is
gone.
is not being heard by anyone because the antenna line is snapped.
Yeah, nice. Okay. Brandon, do you have a scene to frame?
Yeah, well, we're doing mission things, so I will do a mission thing for Marek. And he's electric, so he has been let me think here. the does that make sense? You can tell me whether this is over the top for this, but you are you are in a building that is basically across the street from a place where the you're in and the building you're in is essentially a ruin, and you're across the street from a place where you're trying to get some supplies to, and you're waiting. You're waiting for it to get dark, so that you can, push across some supplies. You've managed to catch the attention. You think you've caught the attention of the people there. They know that you're coming, so you're not going to get shot by them probably. And you and your friends, whoever it is, have loaded up a hand cart with water and food and some ammunition to push over there as soon as it's dark enough that so it gets dark, and you get the cart ready, and you push the cart out in the road, and in the darkness into a pothole, and it makes some noise, and some German troops at the other end. One of them fires a flare into the air.
Yeah, a pothole is like a little hole in the ground. Yes.
Yeah. There's a shell. A shell hit the road.
Yeah.
And it caused, not a big one, a little mortar shell hit the road, and it caused a crack, and so the wheel went into there. And normally it wouldn't be a problem to get out, but suddenly, there's a flare dropping by parachute. It's going to light up the street in a matter of 30 seconds or so, and you have to decide what to do.
I think we see Marek is like standing there in the building. Oh my God, we need some more troop friends.
Yep.
From our unit. Maybe he's there with Jan, who is like probably a little bit panicking. What do we do now? What do we do now? And Marek just looks at him and he says, "Well, we do what we came here to do. We're gonna to deliver those supplies. Come on, we run." And then like, what? How? And like Marek is like already running toward the cart, just like starts grabbing the things. The flare probably like lights the entire street. We maybe like hear some shots. Marek just like lies on the ground, just like picks stuff up, and then just like bolts toward the building. He's delivering the supplies as more shots are like fired at him from, not from our guys, but from the other sides of the streets.
You hear a machine gun opening. You hear the machine gun opening up, and the bullets start to spang off the wall of the building.
Yeah, and fun fact, because I'm contributing. No, yeah, I will contribute a whole D4, which is kind of a fun because a critically important accomplishment. Maybe we even see that some like German truck with like is like trying to like run him over as he's running over the streets, but the truck misses and like falls on the side, and some even like few guns and like a box of ammunition falls from it, so that we can like easily grab it because it's almost at the by the building we were in.
Also, I
Uh,
think it's heroic. I mean, but Marek is sitting there grabbing supplies out of the cart, with as bullets fly, to
yeah,
one side or the other, and the other people are hitting, diving for cover or running back towards the safety of the building you came from, and he's grabbing everything he can, dragging some heavy water cans, across the building to shove into the fortifications on the other side.
yeah, so he's like super careless.
Well, I mean, it's a moment of heroism. Whether it's going
Yeah,
to work for the whole mission remains to be seen.
we'll see. So if I got this right, I can roll for the mission now,
Yes.
because I think I got a D6 from Christina, D10 from Alicia, and myself a D4.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, that's
And we're looking for a 12.
12.
that will be interesting.
So close.
So close.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I guess it's just up to you whether you want to frame that now, and then we can do our personal scenes kind of on the back of that, if that makes sense. Or we could wait. It's up to you.
Yeah, let's wait, because maybe we can then pull in from your personal scenes into it. So let's wait. We know we know we'll fail. We'll do some narration afterwards.
So I think for Alicia, I think maybe this is when she's met up with the group again, and when she was under fire, I think one of those bullets ricocheted and like some brick or whatever hit her face, and like she is bleeding a little bit. And so someone who's like a medic in the group is maybe it's Simon, is tending to her.
Sure.
And I think maybe there's like a maybe there's a sense that Mache is jealous, or that she likes Simon, or something kind of very teenager like when she's being taken care of, and and she maybe has no idea what's happened on the mission. Maybe she's just finding out that her message got cut off. So yeah, I think for this I'm going to mark unsubtle for her reputation, because she doesn't want to come out and ask, because she's not sure if everyone is here, or maybe you're still in the sewers before you come back out to your home base, and she's maybe trying to figure out exactly what happened without like mentioning or asking where is so and so who's missing.
Yeah, I think Christina will come back. She's angry.
Are you okay, Christina?
I'm fine. But it was for shit. I mean, all that trouble to get things into the building. And just as we were getting ready to leave, an artillery shell collapsed half of the roof. They had somebody said they had a tank.
It's not your fault.
God damn it. You worked so hard. How did we not? How did we not know that they were coming so strong? That was supposed to be a well-defended area. They got a tank in there without anybody knowing.
They were all up on the rooftops. They knew exactly. I don't know.
They said that the local SS units were all trapped across the river and couldn't get across. They're supposed to blow the bridges. If they got too near, they must have captured one of the bridges. God damn it.
We can just
Shit, I went down there and got filth all over me and got rats. Bitten by rats and exposed to I don't know what kind of loathsome diseases, and then it was for nothing.
That's what all of this is, right? We try as much as we can, even if half of it doesn't work.
Should have had warning. Somebody screwed up. I mean, we were lucky, we could get out through the sewers. And we were practically on our way out when everything went to shit. The people who were still in there fighting, I don't know what happened to them. They just told us to get going, to get out while we could. They wouldn't let me have a rifle.
If they have tanks, what would we do?
I don't understand exactly everything, but it's hard to bring a tank in the narrow streets because it's too easy to attack it from above. So they don't like to do that. But somehow they must have figured out an approach that they could get where they could get a tank in. Filthy Germans.
Okay, I think I'll roll my d6 now. It's pretty. So I think maybe.
You feel guilty.
Alicia is so caught up in this discussion that she doesn't even notice Mache coming out, assuming he's not dead. And I think he's annoyed with that. Her attention should be on him, right?
Yeah, well, if that's what it is, then he probably says something kind of cutting, like, "Oh, you girls don't have to worry. There's always going to be some guy who will, take you under their wing."
And I think maybe Alicia and Christina give him like some side eye or some stink eye?
Christina lights into him. She doesn't give him a stink eye.
Okay.
Christina lights into him. She says, "Shut the fuck up, you son of a bitch." I watched people get killed today, and all you can think of is whether the fuck you're jealous. You know, there should have been. If there's any justice, it would have been you up there and not them. She apologizes later.
And I think probably Alicia backs Christina up and says, "Don't apologize, you're right." And they kind of stomp off.
Asshole.
Okay, cool.
So I guess that's my personal suite too.
So do you wanna roll, pick
Yep.
a die and roll?
I'm rolling. Yeah, I'm rolling from the grid. That's what I
Yeah.
got.
Okay, so D12.
So I get a 12. Not that that's any guarantor,
No.
as we know. Oh, it's Wojtek, right? Who is that, Maciej?
Yeah,
Or-
that was matching.
Maciej, excuse me. Wojtek is somebody. Oh. My die roll is in the middle. I might have to reload. Let's try it again. Five.
Okay, so it's a success. Yeah, I mean,
So
I
she
don't know
feels
if
a
you
little
want to
better.
add any extra.
She writes in her journal. Did everything we could and got unlucky. Wish we could have done more for those brave people, but at least I can go home to Mama and tell her we're okay. Maybe Alicia's will smarten up and ditch that jerk.
Maybe.
Thinks he knows everything. So there.
Cool. Pavel, how about Mark's scene?
Yeah, I realized I didn't play too much into what I call Deer, which is the city, and I think I'm going to be inspired by the situation, which is a seller of police command posts in Mokotów. I'm not really sure where Mokotów is, but doesn't matter. I think what we see the situation is that there are people like running away, and Marek is walking on the street, and the people are telling him that the Germans have set some explosives to explode some buildings, and one of them was like what used to be a police station in the like somewhere in that in a district But instead of like running away like most people, like evacuating the area, Marek actually I don't want to invoke it, but I just want to like have it in the scene. He like takes out his like black and white postcard, and he thinks that not on his watch, the Germans are not going to like just demolish some buildings as a retaliation. And he runs into the building, taking out his tiny scissors and how do you call this like tool that you like cut? That is like not the scissors, but to cut the wires.
Oh,
The wire
just
cutter.
a wire cutter. Yeah.
Yeah. Some tiny scissors, wire cutter, maybe a knife, and he runs into the building. And so, well, luckily at the time the bombs were not so advanced as they are now. So he just like sits there and he like thinks about what his father told him about the electricity and which cable to cut. Because those, at the time it was just like the timer and the explosives, and he's there sitting trying to like figure out how to like cut the timer from the explosives so that the buildings don't blow up. I wonder what is his light in the scene. I think it's flickering bulb in the ceiling where the bomb is. We see this as like a cellar, and there's like a flickering bulb of light, so it doesn't give him much light, which makes the scene even more dramatic. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm rolling a d12. Oh, it's a 1. What an interesting outcome. So I think we see the building explode, and there's like a ton of dust everywhere and bricks. And we see that luckily Marek was able to like start running before and had some time, so that we see him walking the street back home, like covered in like dust, coughing dust, and like wounded, like his eyebrows like cut, and he's like his hands are like wounded with the glass. So yeah, the city to which he holds dear suffered a major blow in his mind.
Okay. So yeah,
And I think we already sort of like came up with the idea of what happened when the mission failed. We may have even delivered the supplies, but it didn't matter because the Germans used artillery to bring down the entire buildings where the soldiers were.
yeah.
So
I kind of see a scene of us like having escaped from having delivered and like maybe climbing into the sewer, and we look back and then just the gateway explodes with a direct hit or something like this, right?
yeah.
Yeah, and there's some sporadic. I mean, they're they're in a fortified basement, and there's some sporadic firing, but it's it's just a matter of time. They're just dropping shell after shell on the buildings, and the rest of them are the rest of the troops are evacuating from the other. They're basically abandoning the position.
Okay. So now the super complicated situation on the grid.
Yeah, so you choose one of us, you can choose yourself as well to move twice. So we lost the mission. I lost my personal scene. So I'm moving straight down. So from B3 to C3, unless I move twice. Brandon, you're in A1, right?
I'm in A1.
Yeah.
And
so you won the
lost
personal scene and lost the mission, so you're moving into A2.
Right.
And if you get the move twice, you're moving into A3. And then Pavel, you're in A2, right?
Yes, I'm also moving down to B2.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to move Brandon twice, so Brandon will probably go to A3, yes?
Okay.
Yeah.
And I go back to B2. I'm not sure if there's any tactic into using this, so I'm not yet
Well, so
sure.
the two
Stay out of
things
the
that are
corners.
worth calling out is that like by moving Brandon twice, you kind of moved him a little, like towards safety, so away from the place he's already been. So I
Yeah.
think that counts as smart. And the other thing, like we start to think about now, is that we can see where we are on the grid, and we can think, do we even want to win that mission? You know, so that's like the next level to go. Okay, so I'm in C3. Okay.
Kind of like thinking forward. Do our characters all die in the last scene, or in
No,
the last mission,
so
or can we win the last mission? But are we playing to certain outcome that is known, or is that all less like unknown?
so I mean, I guess the kind
the
of
Uprising's doomed, but
yeah, I
not
mean, I guess
necessarily
the kind
us.
of historical arc is, you know, untouched by us, right?
Mhm.
So that the uprising is doomed. But
Yeah.
you know, we can win that mission in chapter 9, right? And we can be
Okay.
successful, but the uprising is still doomed.
Okay.
In terms of like our characters dying, you know, if we at the end of a chapter end up, you know, in one of those corner squares, we're going to mark that at the bottom of our character keeper.
Okay. So
And
that's the only way.
if we mark that twice, we are writing our character out.
Okay.
But that can be character death, or it can be, you know, you're wounded, or it could even be like you're recruited into the home army, so you're no longer in the gray ranks. So
Okay.
that's completely up to you what makes sense.
Okay. Perfect.
And that can happen like, you know, at any chapter, not necessarily at the end.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Do we want to take another 5-minute break?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so we're heading into chapter 5, the high watermark of the uprising. Pavel, do you want to read this one?
I wasn't prepared, but I will try to do my best. The high water mark of the uprising. News updates for Friday, August 4th, 1944. From Radio Lightning, Free Warsaw. Barricades have been erected throughout the city. Behind each wait a determined troops of the home army with petrol bottles, which have caused the destruction of many German tanks so far. The Germans continue their terror tactics. On Królewska Street, many houses have been burned. In one house, a score of retired Polish professors were killed by the SS. Despite those horrors, the morale of home army is high. The watchword, death to the Germans. The grey ranks are doing their work that is beyond all praise. Many young boys and girls have given their lives. They are keeping up the international tradition of scouts and guides. This is Radio Lightning.
So, Brandon, do you want to have Christina be our mission leader?
Sure.
Any thoughts for a mission? So,
yeah, I think so. I think I'm going to take something from the situations. This was just an informant, Janek Veklavik, is on his way to alert the Germans of a planned operation. So, Christina is persuaded that Janek is informing on the partisans. He's been seen speaking with someone who passes information to the Germans, with a shopkeeper. With the assistance of one of the of someone in the uprising, we saw to it that an official looking document, indicating movement through, the movement of forces through the city, was left where Vaclavic could get a look at it. Our mission is to this tells you the mood Christina's in, is to stop him and to make his to make a public spectacle out of his corpse. So we have a propaganda page that's been printed up, and which basically says this is the fate of all who assist the despised occupier. Signed, the gray ranks.
So any thoughts for the first leg of this mission? Or do you want to frame a personal scene for Christina?
Let's actually say that we don't know exactly who their contact is. So the first leg of this mission, that's more interesting. The first leg of this mission is to follow them. They basically Yannick has taken the bait, and we're going to try to follow them and see who they meet with. The second leg of the mission is to kill him, and the third leg of the mission is then to take his body to a suitably public place in the night, and leave him for people to find, and leave him hanging hang him there for people to find in the morning.
So who do you
make
think,
the Germans have to come and cut him down because nobody else will touch him?
Yeah. Who do you think should do the first part of the mission?
Well, heads up, who's good at following? Alicia?
Yeah, maybe Alicia. Maybe I'll.
So I'll frame that as yeah, you've been tasked with taking someone else and seeing who he talks to. And it's okay if he talks to someone, because this information is false.
Okay.
But we want to, we want to know who because the other person is next on the list. But right now, Yannick is the primary target.
So I think I will tag my unsubtle reputation to go to D8. And when we move across that threshold, we kind of flip the reputation. So I mean, subtle is obviously the exact opposite, right, of unsubtle, unless we think we have a slightly different slant on that.
No, it's good.
Cool. Write that in, subtle. But of course, a D8 brings within it its own dangers for the mission, which indicates something going wrong, for which a character is to blame, or some task in their care being neglected.
But not necessarily with the mission, right? It could be personal.
Yeah, maybe it's just
failure.
like difficulties. Maybe Alicia is being like too subtle and has to put a distance in between her and him. and that means that she kind of loses contact with him for a while and has to kind of rush to catch up. So kind of teetering on the edge of complete failure by losing track because she's attempting not to be spotted, right?
Yes.
And I think one of the like she kind of takes a chance, and there's an element, the Polonia football grounds on Konvitorska Street. So I think maybe she remembers the route there and like from her childhood, because this is her part of town maybe, and she rushes there because she knows it's got a good kind of vantage point to spot people walking in a couple of streets nearby, and somehow picks up his trail again, but by the skin of her teeth. Maybe being a little bit too subtle for her own good. Okay.
Mhm.
I guess the next stage of this mission, as you outlined it, was for the snatch, right? So do we see Marek and a group of the boys kind of all gathering for this kind of rush to overwhelm him, you know?
Sure. I think we see Marek and who else is there? Marek, Jan, and Maciej. We are together, and as our target, Janek entered the building, and we are like getting ready to like capture him as soon as he gets out. But yeah, I think maybe yeah. I wonder if we have a yeah. So we see like our target Janek isn't like coming out from the building. He's in for a very long time, and like Marek is like really like wondering. Maybe he like slipped out in the back from the back. So Marek gets out from the hiding place, walks to the building, and just as he's like about to like enter the building, Janek comes out and like meet face to face, and then Janek starts to like run, and Marek runs after him. They run through the building, jump through the window. We see maybe like the two supporting guys who were Maciej and Jan, just like then starts to like run after Marek, and so says like a wild chase. Suddenly we see like a pistol in Janek's hand as he's firing. I wonder if Marek has a pistol. I suppose so. Probably not a rifle, but Marek has a pistol, and Marek fires, and this all turns into like a wild chase through the city as we are like trying to apprehend him to be then crucified or whatever else will happen to him. So I'm contributing a D10, which is again a disaster.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Yeah, so do you want to frame a scene, either a personal one for yourself or the a mission one for Christina?
Mission scene for Christina.
A mission scene for Christina. Yeah. I think yeah, I wonder how to spice it up, because you laid it out so nicely. So now it's like the punishment time for him. I wonder how is it possible to somehow twist it. Yeah, I think we see like Marek brings to Christina this like guy with like a dark back over his head, who is like maybe like shot and wounded and bleeding, but still alive, and they are meeting at a spot, but the place we were supposed to use for execution or making or delivering a message is patrolled by German soldiers.
Well, we'll have to do the best we can. We'll go to that balcony over there. We and Christina gestures to where there's a building that has a first floor balcony that's where the.
So like, what's your plan? Do you want to like hang him on a rope and drop him from the
Yes.
balcony?
She pulls out a noose out of her bag. We're just going to put the rope around him and let him strangle.
Oh, that was a wild chase. Yes, let's do it. Although I'm afraid of the
we
Germans
took you.
downstairs. But
you guys were so late. I wondered what had happened.
plans don't always go so
Okay.
smooth.
All right. Okay, look, I'm going to climb up the building here and tie the rope off, and then you two lift him up and get his neck in the noose and pull it tight.
Okay. Yes.
He's half dead already. It won't take him long to strangle. Just yeah, pull on his legs for a little bit. And let's see, what am I going to use? I think let's see, my grit die is a D10. That's always a good time. I think I'll push over eager into, what about determined? Driven?
I think determined is, a bit of seasoning to overeager.
Yeah.
It works. Yeah.
And this is yeah, I'm using a D8 here. So I think that if this works, when I get home, it's late, and a group of soldiers were were enforcing the curfew on my family's block. And they banged on my mother's door, and she had to completely lie and account for me and everyone else. And there was a tense moment because if they had come in, you know, and had, you know, found out that I wasn't there, then nothing good would have happened. So when I come home, my mother is frightened, and the girls are very inquisitive. It's like, where were you? You're out so late. And of course, I can't tell them anything.
Yeah, so I guess
That'll
we
be the
have-
kickoff for my personal scene too.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So I guess that's all 3 mission dice now, right? We've got.
Yep, we got the 3 mission
2d8
dice. We
and
got
D10.
2 8s and a 10. No 4s this time.
And we're
Thank
looking
goodness.
for 15 in the target number.
Okay, and the mission is dealing. Boom.
Where's
Yeah,
that
when
result when we needed it last time?
when the sun comes up, you know, there he is hanging, you know, purple faced, having died of strangulation, with a big note on his chest that says, you know, this is what traitors to the Polish people can expect. You know, death to the Germans. And he hangs there for a good long time, and everybody going by on this busy street, you know, gets a look at him and things like that before, you know, a German truck, you know, pulls up and a bunch of soldiers get out and cut him down. You know, and they get horrible glares from the, you know, the entire populace of the area as they're doing it.
Yeah, great. You wanna go straight into that personal scene for Christina, or?
Yeah, well, it's the next morning, I think,
Yeah.
for Christina. And she's at home. And they're cleaning up from breakfast.
So do you want me to play Christina's mother?
Yes.
Yeah.
And if you want, Pavel, you can play the girls or one of them.
Christina, you were out very late last night. Did I hear you come in?
I was with friends.
With friends during the curfew, during the fighting?
My friends are the only way I can stand to deal with this all. You know that.
There were Germans. They came in the evening and they asked, are we all home? Mom said that we were all home. Mom lied to the Germans.
I'm sorry you had to lie. But it's better this way.
Better this way? That I should have to lie to put if the Germans had come in and discovered you not there, we would have all been rounded up. Your father would have come home to find no one here.
Father's not coming home. I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. Maria, Sophia, he's coming home.
Mommy,
just-
why daddy isn't coming home?
Your father is coming home, girls.
Yes, he's
Christina,
coming home.
Christina is one of those girls we warn you about. She's out all night with God knows who. She tells lies to my face just to upset me and just to upset you and to lead you astray.
Mama, don't you dare talk about me like this in front of the girls.
Well, don't you dare talk about your father like that in front of your little sisters.
I'm just afraid.
Well, you're the eldest, aren't you? You have to be more responsible than that. You're not a child anymore. You're 16.
No. No, I'm not a child. I'm an adult, like it or not. We were hoping Papa would be home sooner, Maria Sofia, but it looks like it will take longer.
And I don't remember their age, but they have like a crudely drawn picture of the family with all three of you, mom and dad, just like.
Yeah, I think there's like 7 and 9 years old, you know. They're old enough to understand, but understand what everybody is saying, but not old enough to understand what it means. Yeah, so it's yes, the German came and he was loud. Okay, I think that's a good spot.
Yeah.
So let's see if I manage to settle it over with my family a little bit. I'm rolling D10.
And you're looking for a 5 or higher.
My dice roller's hanging up for some reason. I mean, yeah. Oh, no, it released just in the wrong period of time.
Wow.
Okay.
The big dice are really not treating you well this week.
It failed. No, there's still, it's basically there's an argument that doesn't resolve. Because fundamentally, my mother's argument is you shouldn't be doing dangerous things. And my argument is I have to do dangerous things because somebody has to.
And I mean, is there like a sense that this might have been like an argument that your parents had, you know, before your father went off to war, or some kind of echo in this?
Well, my mother didn't want my father to be a soldier, but he was drafted.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas, yeah. So I mean, actually, it's worse than that because he didn't have a choice. But as my mother has implied more than once, and now most recently, you know, I have a choice. I don't have to put the family at risk in order to do what I do. I am doing it out of my own. I am being selfish. And, you know, and endangering everyone. And what would my father think?
And how do you think your little sisters are taking it? Like, are they too young to kind of understand what the real kind of subtext here is, or is this plain even to them now?
Everything. Well, you know, this is a scary time. And I think Maria is scared that okay, daddy's gone and maybe Christina will be gone. And that would be terrible. I think Sophia doesn't really get it. You know, the idea that she assumes that daddy's going to come back and that everything's going to be okay, even though day-to-day life is sometimes scary. And, you know, she complains about how, you know, the soup isn't very good and things like that. And Mama has to shush her.
Okay.
But no, my mother resents my participation because she's afraid, because she really is afraid my father's gone. And if I were to be killed or taken away by the Germans as well, then that, you know, that would be more than her heart could take.
Okay. Pavel, you personal scene for Mark, or do you want me to go?
I can go. I can go. My inspiration for the scene is lacy undergarments. I think we cut to our room, probably somewhere at, I think we have some kind of like an HQ, and maybe there's a room with like sleeping bags where we can sleep the night. And I think that the room is for now empty. Maybe people are on mission. Maybe people are like haven't returned yet. And there is Marek and Jadwiga, and they have like finished having sex. They're like putting on the clothes and yeah, it's like weird awkward time. Do I don't know if you guys want to play Jadwiga?
Sure, yeah.
And Marek says, I think Marek like opens like not the lighter, but matches pack, and there are like some few like unfinished cigarettes he found, and he like lights this like unfinished cigarettes so that they can share it. And he says, what do you think will happen to us? Do you think we have a chance of surviving it?
Well, we're going to win. We're going to drive the Germans out. So after this, we can live anywhere.
I mean, I do have hope. I just like the Red Army approaching, the Germans. There are just so many of them in the city. It's like they were like ready for us.
No, you took care of this Yannick. No one else will tell the Germans what we're up to.
I really hope so. I'm afraid about the upcoming days. So and like I think he like opens the like other matchbox, and we see that there are like two really cheap, like maybe made of brass rings, and he like takes one of them, and he like turns to her and he says, I know this is not proper time or place or mood, I don't know, but I would really want us to be together. I don't know if we will find a priest or not. Anyway, I want to ask you to marry me. I know it's what do you say? Let's go to the dice.
Yeah,
Let's see.
Let's see what the dice say. So
Yeah,
you're rolling.
I'm going to mark my infatuated at D6.
Okay.
And see what will become of it. A D6. It's a 1.
Boom.
So is that rejection? Is that like you're right, Marek, it is not the proper time.
I think we can totally go this direction.
And it's I think based on her personality, right? I think it's going to be something like, we cannot rush these things. We're going to have a proper wedding after we win this war. I almost believe you don't think we're going to win, Marek.
It's like every day it's like new situation. I just don't know what will happen tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. I just wanted us to have something solid.
Well, you do have something solid, but we're waiting. If you like, I will put the ring on a necklace and wear it until the time is right. But if I get any sense that you no longer believe in our cause, it's over.
Yeah, we see Marek is like shaken by all of this, and I guess he like closes the matchbox and says, "No, you're right. We'll wait until we win, and then we will do things the proper way." Yes.
Okay, cool. So I think for Alicia, I think the conversation or the confrontation rather with between her and Christina and Mache during the last mission is kind of weighing on her. I think she is breaking up with Mache because of his, immature jealousy. So I don't know. I think she's writing a letter because that's like a mature thing to do instead of like having some kind of argument in front of everyone. I think that kind of that works for me. And then she maybe when she's doing some work or she's going out on a shift to be a courier, she like leaves the letter on his pillow or something like that. She doesn't really think confrontation is in anyone's best interest right now. So yeah, I think what does, I guess, success for her looks like, him kind of taking this rejection and not really causing trouble, and then who knows if it's a failure, what kind of mischief he'll be talking when she gets back, something like that. And it's a D8 for my grid. No, lots of ones.
This is not a good week for personal.
Good for the mission, bad for everyone's. So yeah, what do you think Mache's reaction is, or what the mood is in the HQ when she?
What Mache's reaction? Mache's reaction is to take this letter, stare at it in disbelief, tear it up, and throw it into the fire, and then get drunk. And make unkind remarks about derogatory remarks about women in general and their faithlessness.
Yeah. And does that
So
like infect the mood of the HQ by when she returns, or is
Oh
that,
yeah, no. When the when Alicia next goes into the HQ, there, like she notices that like half the people are just staring at her. Not all are, not everyone's peeved at her, but everybody's been talking. Some of them are on Match's side. Other ones think he's a jerk. Everybody's been talking about it.
And maybe
He probably
even
showed the letter. He probably showed the letter to a couple of people before he tore it to pieces.
yeah.
Yeah, and maybe even one of the like girlfriends of Alicia, like of Alicia, comes and asks her directly, "You broke up with Mache in the middle of the uprising? You weirdo."
He couldn't concentrate on the mission. He was just jealous for no good reason. So he can keep being jealous. For all I care.
I'm really happy. That means he's free. And she like turns and walks.
Oh. What's Christina's reaction to this whole drama?
She says, "Fuck pricks who think that they're pricks." She said that you didn't do anything wrong.
Perfect.
You're better off without him.
Yeah. Okay.
You'll find somebody else who actually gives a shit about you.
Okay, that sounds like a wrap to me. So we're all moving in the same direction. We're all moving one square to the left. And Brandon, you pick one character to
let's see.
move twice.
So
I'm in C3 right now.
C3 and B2. I'm not moving me to the left. I can tell you that. No. That would be unwise.
I think obviously it's your decision. I think moving me twice is the safest.
So where would I go from B1? Because B1 is one move. If I move twice, then where would I go?
You go to the right.
So you're at the edge, and you move clockwise, so you end up in A1 as well.
A1. So I'm going to say that Alicia realizes she's just better. That it's the weight lifted off of her. That dealing with Mache was in fact stressing her. That trying to deal with him and deal with the gray ranks at the same time was just too much of a stress. And so she actually feels a sense of relief.
Cool.
So she's going to move twice to C1.
C1, yeah.
And then Marek's going to move to B1, and Christina's moving to A2.
Wow.
Threatened by that corner again.
Yeah.
Yeah. B2 is even worse because it's 50% for me to go to A1 now from B1. So
yeah. So we better lose the next mission, huh?
Yeah, well, but you haven't been to A1 yet. So it's not worse for you.
The first visit is free, right?
First visit is free. Christina's been into the martyrdom corner. She's headed for there. She has every danger that she is going to die heroically.
Do we play for another half an hour, or do we end?
Yeah, I think we should probably wrap up there, because next week we'll do the 3 full chapters, and we'll do the epilogue, which is again no dice and a straightforward scene. So I think we're better off cutting there, and then doing 3 full chapters, and then the epilogue next week, or the next week. Okay, so I guess I'll stop recording, and then we'll do a debrief.